So Raw kicks off with a bang this week because you got Paul Heyman standing in the middle of the ring, and he's saying that this is gonna be his last time in a WWE ring. He talks about some of his accomplishments. He talks about ECW. He talks about how he discovered Brock Lesnar, and where he became the next big thing. Then he talks about CM Punk, how he is one of his best friends, but he believes he has become a distraction to Punk in his quest to regain the WWE title, and so that's why he's trying to step aside, and so Punk ends up coming down to the ring and tries to talk some sense to him, I guess you could say, and it's like saying, "Hey, we're a team, this and that," and you know he is gonna end up standing in his corner for the main event of Elimination Chamber. So yeah, it was an okay segment, I guess. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of there. All right, then you got Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, against Great Khali with an Italian Hornswoggle. One thing about Mark Henry, since he's come back, he has been nothing short of dominant ever since he's come back off his 9-month hiatus from injury. One thing that kind of surprised me is he actually got a pretty big pop when he come out there. I don't know if it's just like respect is kind of like one of those Road Warrior things or he was just that much of an ass kicker where the crowd just started to respect him like they did the Road Warriors. I think it's kind of the same thing, maybe not on quite such a big level, but anyway, this match didn't last too long. Henry got Khali up for the World's Strongest Slam, which is very impressive. I mean, yeah, we did see it Friday night on SmackDown, but still, when you can pick up a 400 and some odd pound man and slam him like he's nothing, that's pretty damn good. And then after the match, he ends up taking out all 150 pounds of Hornswoggle. So, and there's actually some people chanting "one more time." So, take it for what it's worth. Well, then you see Vicky in her office. She ends up talking to McMahon for a bit. Then she turns on speakerphone after Paul Heyman comes in there, and Heyman gets a stipulation for the match between Rock and Punk, where turns out if Rock were to get disqualified or counted out, CM Punk will win the title. He pitched it to McMahon, and McMahon actually goes for it, which really surprised me. So kind of leads me to think that there's gonna be a bullshit finish in this. Where, I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen here. I mean, you could see Brock Lesnar interfering, supposedly for you would think for Punk, but no, he could just waylay CM Punk, and that would get Rock disqualified. Or you could see, I mean, there could be a number of other things where you could see Punk win the title. Maybe the Shield comes back out or something. Maybe Brad Maddox has something to do with it. Hey, you never know. So next we have a match that was made earlier in the night by Booker T and Teddy Long. Chris Jericho against Daniel Bryan. I'm sure the IWC was just about that one. Well, they probably should have, maybe, I don't know, but this was the best match on Raw, and yeah, the Cobra finish out of nowhere, it was kind of a sloppy a little bit, but other than that, it was a really good match, and Jericho's now in the chamber. All right, 1 hour main event time. It was my boy Ryback along with Cena's and that piece of monkey crap John Cena against 3MB. Well, this is basically a big squash. And of course the golden boy John Cena gets the pinfall. I bet you're just loving that now, weren't you, Mike, huh? And yes, this was a pre-taped segment, but hey, it got Alex Riley and Yoshitatsu on television. You damn right it did. even if they got punched out by Big Show after making fun of him after what happened to him on SmackDown Friday night. But hey, they got Alex Riley and Yoshitatsu on TV, so it doesn't matter how you get on TV, just as long as you do. That's all. So after that, you got Big Show coming to the ring. He's supposed to be getting interviewed by Matt Striker, but Striker he tries to ask him a question, and he gets punched out for his trouble. And then you got Show standing in the ring for a couple minutes, and he just, I mean, it looks like he's trying to say something, but just like he's so angry that he just like, you know, it's sometimes the best promos are oh, I guess you can say sometimes less is more, and that's kind of what Big Show's doing here. Okay, next you got Jack Swagger, who's been pretty impressive in his return against the Internet Champion Zack Ryder. You didn't really think Zack Ryder was going to win this match now, did you? I hope not, because he didn't. Swagger was pretty dominant in this match, and hey, he's got a mouthpiece now. Zeb Coulter, or I prefer not to call him that because I know who he really is. He's Dirty Dutch Mantel, damn it. But then they had a promo at the end, after the match, and it's like, you know, it almost sounded like the beginning of JBL's character, like when they first turned him heel, or he's standing at the U.S. Mexican border trying to keep illegals out, but. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good promo actually, and this is exactly what Swagger needs. I mean, Swagger obviously isn't the greatest talker on the mic, so and Dutch Mantel is a pretty damn good one. So hey, he's got a mouthpiece now, so I could see big things out of Swagger. All right, so the next match you had was The Miz against Cody Rhodes. You had U.S. Champion Antonio Cesaro on commentary. This actually wasn't too bad of a match, but what afterwards was pretty wild, actually. Miz ends up winning by DQ after Cesaro ends up pushing him into the ring post, and then I thought he was gonna do one of those giant swings or something, but he kind of did. He kind of swung on like a baseball bat and swung Miz about 4 or 5 times into the barricade. So, wow, that was pretty extreme right there. So it kind of makes you wonder if is this thing gonna go to WrestleMania, or is this feud gonna go to WrestleMania, or is it gonna end at Elimination Chamber or something, or are they gonna have a match there? So, all right, then you had basically a squash tag team match between Primo and Epico against the Great Pumpkin and Tensai. So looks like Brodus Clay is he's trying to find a name for this new tag team with him and Tensai, so I think it'd be interesting to see what they come up with. So not much to say about this match, really. Alright, so then I guess the 2-hour main event, you get the Shield coming down to do a promo. They're kind of leaving themselves unprotected, I guess you could say. Then they just talk about basically what they're saying is they want Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus to come out there and face them, and they're just talking about different things. And finally, the lights go out, and then they ask you shall receive, because Cena, Sheamus, and Ryback started pounding on him, and they got him to retreat again. So I think I'm guessing that's probably what you're going to see at Elimination Chamber on Sunday, and I think they're doing about everything they can to make him look weak. So I really think the Shield needs to win this match to make him look legit, but we all know that's not going to happen. All right, next you got Damian Sandow taking on ADR. But first, we get this hilarious promo talking about the Grammys in country music, considering it was in Nashville. Oh my God, this is an early candidate for promo of the year, folks. In my own humble opinion. No, it's not the Batista promo about kissing babies and hugging fat girls, but it's still still a pretty damn good promo. But as far as the match goes, it was a pretty quick match. Del Rio ends up winning with the cross-arm breaker, so he ends up tapping out, and then he has a short promo afterwards. He's just talking about WrestleMania, and he's talking about the match with the Big Show on Sunday at Elimination Chamber, and otherwise not too much, but ADR wins. So Wade Barrett took on Kofi Kingston, but before that he was attacked on the way to the ring by Bo Dallas, who's basically returning the favor of what Wade Barrett did to him on SmackDown. And this was a pretty short match as well. Barrett ends up winning with the bullhammer after Kofi gets caught up into the ring apron. He was blinded, so he didn't see it coming. So Barrett ends up winning. So I don't know if they're gonna be if they're setting up a match between him and Bo Dallas, perhaps at WrestleMania. I don't know if they'll have anything at Elimination Chamber or not, but it sounds like it could be a match for WrestleMania. So you got Kane and Dolph Ziggler in a match for the final spot in the Elimination Chamber. Ziggler wants in so he can get a crack at Jericho, but Kane ends up wanting to get the final spot after AJ tried to interfere, and AJ was knocked off the apron by Ziggler, Ziggler was distracted by her. Big E Langston caught her, and Kane won with the choke slam, and now Kane is the final participant in the Elimination Chamber. But Ziggler really doesn't need to be in the chamber match. Yeah, sure, he could have got another. If he were to win that match, he'd get another shot on top of the one he's already got with Money in the Bank. But it almost leads you to believe that perhaps Ziggler is actually finally going to cash in on Del Rio at the Elimination Chamber after their match or something. So I would almost be surprised if it doesn't happen, but you never know. But even if he does cash it in, you'd almost think he's not going to have that long of a title reign. They're just going to put it on him just because he's had it for this long. So, all right. So finally, we got The Rock in the main event segment, and it's story time with The Rock. He's talking about how as a 15-year-old kid he bought a car from a crackhead for like $50. It's kind of a funny story. He mentions Downtown Bruno and the Schlag Daddy's favorite wrestler, Jeff fucking Jarrett. But anyway, he talks about this for a while, and finally Punk and Heyman end up coming out there, and Punk comes out there, and they start going at it for a little bit. Rock's going for the people's elbow. Heyman actually interferes and trips him up, so Punk gives Rock the GTS and goes away with the belt. You would have thought they would have ended the show right there, but Punk ends up saying something about story time being over, and he's gonna win the title back at Elimination Chamber. So end of the show. All right, final thoughts on this show is that this was actually a very good go home show. I mean, obviously the Daniel Bryan Jericho match was good, and then you had a couple good promo segments. The Jack Swagger Dutch Mantel promo was good, I thought. And then the Rock story time was pretty good, I thought. So anyway, This is Marvelous Mark signing off for now, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya.